Welcome back to Easy English Wins. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here today. We are doing a very special language explainer, and we're going to be using a real Reuters news report about the extreme European heat wave to build your advanced English vocabulary. You know, using real-world news is, without a doubt, the absolute best way to take your English from that intermediate plateau right up to the advanced level. Why? Well, because you get to see exactly how native English-speaking journalists use highly descriptive words, idioms, and complex grammar right in context. Throughout this explainer, I'm going to speak slowly and clearly. I'm here as your supportive English coach. We're going to break down the difficult vocabulary together. I'll give you some great synonyms, point out some tricky pronunciation tips, and give you real-life examples so you can actually use these words in your everyday conversations. So grab a notebook, get comfortable, and let's get ready to upgrade your English. So here is our agenda for today's explainer to help you master this journalistic vocabulary. We'll start by breaking down the headline, then move into the core climate crisis, look at the power grid strain, study the destructive wildfires, and finally look at the agricultural toll. All right, Section 1, breaking down the headline, Heatwave hits Europe. Let's dive right in. Let's read the opening of this article together to really understand the big picture. Headlines use very specific, dramatic verbs, and mastering them is going to make you sound so much more natural. Listen closely to these terms that describe the escalating events. Austria hits record temperature. Hungary curbs power use as Europe feels the heat. The temperature in Austria climbed to a record high, while the latest heat wave and drought took their toll on Central and Southern Europe. Now, what's really interesting here is how these three definitions perfectly capture the start of a major crisis. We have temperatures that climbed, leading to a drought that took their toll on the region. Let's look a little closer at these. First up, climbed. In News English, climbed just means to increase in amount or intensity. A quick pronunciation tip for you here, that B at the end is completely silent. We say climbed, absolutely not climb bed. You can use this for literally anything that goes up. For example, gas prices climbed again this month. Next is drought. This is a prolonged period of abnormally low rainfall leading to a water shortage. Notice the spelling there with the ought, but it's actually pronounced exactly like out, drought. For example, the farmers lost all their crops due to the severe drought. Finally, we have such an excellent idiom, took their toll. To take a toll means to have a serious, bad effect on someone or something over a period of time. It's really often used when talking about stress or damage. For instance, you could say, working 80 hours a week really took a toll on his health. Moving right along to Section 2, the core climate crisis, ravaged by heat. When journalists want to describe severe physical devastation, they use incredibly strong adjectives and passive voice structures. Notice the really powerful language used here to convey the danger. Europe, the world's fastest-warming continent, has been ravaged by record-breaking heat and destructive wildfires this summer, with France and Spain particularly hard hit. Let's extract those key terms and break them down. The crucial takeaway here is that these four descriptive terms are absolutely perfect additions to your vocabulary builder for whenever you need to discuss natural disasters or severe impacts. First, ravaged. This means severely damaged or devastated. Note the grammar here. It is almost always used in the passive voice, as in, the coastal town was completely ravaged by the hurricane. Second, we have record-breaking. This is a fantastic compound adjective meaning surpassing any previous achievement or occurrence. You could say something like, she had a record-breaking sales month. Next is destructive. This just means causing great and irreparable harm or damage. It's simply the adjective form related to the verb destroy. For example, the storm was incredibly destructive to the local infrastructure. Finally, hard hit. This means greatly affected by something unpleasant. Small businesses were hard hit by the recent economic crisis. Using these specific words, instead of just saying very bad, is instantly going to make your English sound so much more advanced. And this number right here brilliantly illustrates those extreme temperatures, as Austria hit 41.2 degrees Celsius, which for our American friends is 106.2 degrees Fahrenheit. When talking about weather, we often use that verb hit to describe reaching a specific peak number, as in, temperatures hit 40 degrees today. It's just a short, punchy, conversational way to deliver data in English. Now, these conditions were so sweltering, which means uncomfortably hot, that it actually prompted or caused the Vatican to move the Pope's audience indoors for some relief. Let's look at these two fantastic words. Sweltering is such a highly descriptive adjective. You don't just use this for a warm, sunny day, you use it when you are sweating and completely, totally uncomfortable. We spent a sweltering afternoon just waiting for the bus. Next is prompted. This is a slightly more formal verb meaning to cause or bring about an action. In the news, events don't just make things happen, they prompt them. For instance, the customer's loud complaint prompted the manager to completely change the store policy. It is a highly professional word, and you should absolutely be using it in your business English emails. Okay, section 3. Straining the power grid. Infrastructure failing. Now let's see how all this heat actually impacts human infrastructure. This step-by-step breakdown maps out the cascading failure of the energy grid in countries like Hungary, exactly as reported by Reuters. Step 1. The drought causes dwindling river levels. Step 2. Hungary's Seoul nuclear plant loses its vital cooling water. Step 3. This means the entire power grid is stretched to its limits. And Step 4. Ultimately, the reactor output has to be reduced. This is a very complex situation, right? But with the proper vocabulary, we can explain it perfectly. Let's pause for a second and define these technical nouns and adjectives so you can accurately describe energy consumption and dwindling resources in your professional English. First up, consumption. This noun means the action of using up a resource. In everyday life, you might talk about your car's fuel consumption or a city's water consumption. Second, the grid. When we say the grid in News English, we almost always mean the literal network of lines and infrastructure that provides electricity to a country. Third, dwindling. Ooh, this is a beautiful, very descriptive adjective meaning gradually diminishing in size, amount, or strength. You can have dwindling resources, dwindling savings, or even dwindling hope. You might say, my bank account is definitely dwindling after that vacation. And fourth, sole. This is a formal adjective meaning being the only one. So instead of saying only, try saying sole. For example, she is the sole owner of the new startup company. Notice how stretched to its limits is such a great idiom for a system running at maximum capacity, which happens when a power plant's output must be drastically reduced. Stretched to its limits means you are using something to the absolute point where it can barely continue to function. You can use this for physical objects, sure, like a rubber band, but it's really brilliant to use for people or systems. Our hospital staff is completely stretched to its limits right now. The word output is a noun meaning the amount of something produced by a person, a machine, or an industry. The factory doubled its daily output this year. If your output's high, well, you're producing a lot. Furthermore, as the River Rhine hit new historic lows, cargo ships carrying commodities like grains and petrol had to stop entirely, which heavily disrupted the supply chain. Commodities is an absolutely essential business English noun. It refers to raw materials or primary agricultural products that can be bought and sold. We're talking about things like copper, coffee, grains, or oil. If you work anywhere in finance, logistics, or business, you need to know this word. The price of basic commodities has gone up significantly this year. Moving on to Section 4, Battling Destructive Wildfires, Crisis in Albania and Greece. Let's look at the terrifying wildfires in Albania and Greece. Fire vocabulary is highly specific in English, and you need to get it right. These 6 vocabulary words are essential for describing the chaos on the ground and those brave firefighting efforts. Evacuation, livestock, tame, fanned, gale force, and doused. Let's break them down one by one. In Albania, 15 families and all their farm livestock faced a sudden evacuation, while ground crews desperately tried to tame the approaching flames. Let's look at these first 3. Evacuation is a noun, meaning the action of moving people from a place of danger to a much safer place. The verb form is to evacuate. The police ordered an immediate evacuation of the burning building. Next is livestock. This is a collective noun for farm animals that are regarded as an asset. Think cows, sheep, pigs. You definitely do not use this for household pets like dogs or cats. Then we have tame. Now, usually tame is an adjective for a gentle animal, but here it's actually being used as a verb. In this specific context, to tame means to bring a wild, uncontrollable force, like a wildfire, under control. Firefighters worked all night to tame the blazing fire. Okay, let's do some reading practice and shadowing together. I will read the sentence about the Greek fires slowly so you can repeat it right after me. Shadowing is an amazing technique to improve your pronunciation and your natural rhythm. I'll read it first at a normal pace. Wildfire, possibly caused by vibrating electricity conductors and fanned by gale force winds. Helicopters doused scattered smoking spots. Okay, now I'm going to pause. I want you to repeat out loud wherever you are right now. Ready? Wildfire, possibly caused by vibrating electricity conductors and fanned by gale force winds. Helicopters doused scattered smoking spots. Excellent job. Doing this builds that vital muscle memory for complex English phrasing. Let's look at the specific words here. These terms create such a vivid picture in the mind. Gale force winds fanned the flames to make them stronger until helicopters finally doused them with water. Let's start with fanned. As a verb, to fan means to increase the strength of a fire by blowing air on it. But you can also use it metaphorically, which is great. His angry comments fanned the flames of the argument. Next, gale force. This is a hyphenated adjective meaning very strong winds. A gale is just a strong wind, so gale force describes that extreme intensity. The fishing ship was caught in gale force winds. Finally, doused. This means to pour liquid over or to totally drench something, especially to put out a fire. She doused the campfire with a huge bucket of water before going to sleep. And finally, Section 5, the agricultural tool, Britain's crops. Environmental conditions obviously have a direct, severe effect on agriculture. Britain's cereal harvest is actually on track to be the worst since 1984, as their crops wither from the extreme heat. To wither means a plant becomes dry, shriveled, and weak due to a lack of water or extreme heat. But the real beauty of advanced English is that you can apply this to non-physical things as well. If you lose your confidence over time, you can say, his confidence began to wither, or public support for the new law is withering. It's a wonderful, almost poetic verb to add to your vocabulary builder today. All right, to summarize our vocabulary builder today, your homework is to write 3 original sentences using the words we just learned in the comments below. Pick your favorites. Are you going to use sweltering? How about dwindling? Or maybe the idiom stretched to its limits? Active practice is literally the absolute only way these words will move from your short-term memory into your permanent active speaking vocabulary. I will personally be reading the comments and giving feedback, so please don't be shy. Write your 3 sentences down below right now. I'll leave you with this final, provocative question to think about as you review the complex global issues and language we covered in today's explainer. Look at how beautifully we can use our new vocabulary in just 1 sentence. As these record-breaking events leave our systems stretched to their limits, how will the world adapt to this destructive new normal? You now possess the exact English tools required to discuss this critical issue with native speakers, colleagues, or even in a formal English proficiency exam. Please make sure to like the video, comment which word you learned today, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and go ahead and check out another explainer from our channel. The more you surround yourself with this natural, journalistic English, the faster you will achieve fluency. We covered a whole lot of ground today, from dwindling resources to sweltering heat. You should be really proud of the work you put in today. See you in the next lesson. Keep practicing. You can absolutely do it. Bye.